You spend months memorizing vocabulary and practicing verb conjugations. But the moment you step into a real conversation in a new country, that classroom safety net vanishes. The rhythm is entirely different, and locals use words you cannot find in any dictionary. Land at El Prat Airport in Barcelona, jump in the taxi line, and offer your polished buenos dias. Your driver might nod warmly, but he will respond with a clipped, measured cadence. He might lead with a quick bon dia, and then weave between languages in a way your study guide never prepared you for. If you fly into Madrid instead, a colleague greets you at the office with a rapid-fire, "Hey, ¿qué pasa, tío? Mola mogollón haberte conocido." The accent is sharp, loud, and incredibly fast. The syllables blur together. Even though this is the capital of Spain, it sounds like a different language from the podcasts you use to train your ear. Your ear isn't failing you. Spain is far from linguistically uniform, and its two biggest cities are the clearest proof. The Spanish you learned in a classroom gives you a structural foundation, but social survival, connecting with locals or navigating a bar, requires completely different adaptations depending on whether you unpack your bags in Madrid or Barcelona. Madrid is the geographic and political center of Castilian Spanish. The national broadcast media and standard Spanish education all anchor to the madrileño model. It is a direct, fast execution of the Castilian tradition. Barcelona sits in Catalonia, where the dominant historical language is Catalan. When Castilian Spanish took root there, it was adopted by a population who already had Catalan phonology embedded in their ears. They speak technically standard Spanish, but it's shaped by centuries of contact with a separate Romance language. This scorecard shows the gap between what you studied and what you hear. In both cities, classroom training rarely maps to street reality. In Madrid, this comprehension gap is driven by raw speed and highly regional slang. In Barcelona, you navigate two languages simultaneously. Mastering Spanish in Spain isn't about learning one national standard. It's about a choice. You either master a fast, direct regional dialect, or you learn the cultural diplomacy required for a bilingual environment. If you trained on Latin American Spanish, the single most obvious hurdle when you land in Madrid is the distinción. This shows exactly how the sound transforms. In Madrid, C before E or I and Z are pronounced as a th sound. So gracias sounds like gracias, and cerveza sounds like cerveza. Importantly, the S remains crisp. This distinción is a core capital feature. Over in Barcelona, residents raised on Castilian Spanish still use that th sound, but the overall melody and stress patterns of the city change entirely. Catalan phonology causes vowel compression in unstressed syllables. When Barcelona locals speak Spanish, their delivery feels more monotone and forward-pushed compared to the rising expressiveness you hear in Madrid. The phonetic trade-off is clear. Madrid requires actively unlearning Latin American habits to match a fast, expressive cadence. Barcelona requires you to passively adjust your ear to track compressed, flatter vowels. Beyond the accent, your vocabulary choices will immediately signal how well you've integrated. Both cities use standard Spanish, but they prefer entirely different casual layers. This matrix maps out the conversational elements to swap out. In Madrid, work is a curro, lots of people is mogollón, and great is mazo. In Barcelona, slang draws from Catalan. Work becomes feina, surprises are ostres, and fix means cool. Even the way you address your friends changes. Madrid relies on a relentless use of dio or dia, meaning dude or mate. Barcelona uses it too, but you'll also hear the localized quillo absorbed from street speech. These vocabulary differences dictate how you participate in local rituals. In Madrid, the Sunday pre-lunch gathering is anchored by the vermú ritual. Invitation to drinks sounds like, "Nos hacemos un vermú?" When ordering a small draft beer, a caña, a madrileño uses the direct verb poner. "Me pones una caña?" In Barcelona, the owner might be more comfortable with the Catalan phrasing, "Me pots posar una cerveza?" This bilingual reality is physically baked into Barcelona's infrastructure. To navigate the subway, you need to know that sortida means exit and benvinguts means welcome. You will be reading two languages on a daily basis just to get around. For expats, Madrid slang requires memorizing a deep layer of monolingual Castilian terms. Barcelona requires broad deciphering skills to track natural, constant code switching. Before addressing social rules, there is one structural grammar rule you must master in both cities, the vosotros conjugation for addressing a group informally. If you trained on Latin American Spanish, you'll need to add this entire conjugation set to your vocabulary. In Madrid, vosotros flies at full velocity in casual speech. Locals swallow the word entirely into rapid contractions at the ends of sentences. This fits the city's aggressive informality. Strangers will address you as tío within the first exchange. The communication style is sharp, warm, and blunt. Silence is viewed uncomfortably, so people fill the space with talk. Barcelona social circles often have a slightly more reserved initial register. Locals tend to read the room before code switching. There is a layer of cultural identity here, where a Barcelonín may wait to see if you speak Catalan before fully relaxing into Spanish. There is a noticeable shift in how locals treat you when you use even a few basic Catalan greetings, like bon dia, gracias, or enlilbe. It signals that you recognize Barcelona isn't just a Spanish-speaking extension of Madrid, and that small effort earns real goodwill from the community. Madrid demands you match their speed and bluntness to belong. Barcelona rewards cultural diplomacy and a more deliberate approach to building social warmth. Your textbook Spanish provides a fine foundation, but local survival is almost entirely about mastering the correct register for the city you are actually in. These checklists outline what to adjust before touching down. For Madrid, master the TH sound, embrace vosotros, and learn slang like curro to keep up. For Barcelona, adjust to flat vowels, learn Catalan greetings, and follow bilingual code switching. Standard language apps will never teach you these nuances. They prep you for a neutralized version of the language that doesn't exist on the ground in either city. StreetTongue bridges this gap. The app provides city-specific modules for both Madrid and Barcelona, focusing on the vocabulary and phrases that actually mark the difference between an outsider and a local. Use the link in the description to download StreetTongue for free and start your specific audio training today. Which environment do you think is harder to adapt to? Madrid's rapid-fire speed or Barcelona's complex bilingualism? Let us know in the comments.